Down the road, the study authors write, a better understanding of sharks' personalities may help scientists learn more about what drives their choice of things like prey and habitat. Some sharks are shy, and some are outgoing, some are adventurous, and some prefer to stick close to what they know, information that could prove useful in making sense of larger species-wide behavior patterns. But unfortunately for misadventure-prone clownfish everywhere, all of them, save for a handful of animated Disney exceptions, still see fish as food, not friends. Two decades ago, Kashmiri houseboat owners rubbed their hands every spring at the prospect of the annual influx of tourists. From May to October, the hyacinth-choked waters of Dal Lake saw flotillas of vividly painted shikaras carrying Indian families, boa westerners, young travelers and wide-eyed Japanese carpet sellers honed their skills, as did purveyors of anything remotely embroidered, while the houseboats initiated by the British Raj provided unusual accommodation. Then, in 1989, separatist and Islamist militancy attacked and everything changed. Hindus and countless Kashmiri business people bolted, at least 35,000 people were killed in a decade, the lake stagnated, and the houseboats rotted. Any foreigners venturing there risked their lives, proved in 1995 when 5 young Europeans were kidnapped and murdered. It is tempting to try to prove that good looks win votes, and many academics have tried. The difficulty is that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you cannot behold a politician's face without a veil of extraneous prejudice getting in the way. Does George Bush possess a disarming grin, or a facetious smirk? It's hard to find anyone who can look at the president without assessing him politically as well as physically. Steven Pinker, a cognitive psychologist best known for his book The Language Instinct, has called music auditory cheesecake, an exquisite confection crafted to tickle the sensitive spots of at least 6 of our mental faculties. If it vanished from our species, he said, the rest of our lifestyle would be virtually unchanged. Others have argued that, on the contrary, music, along with art and literature, is part of what makes people human. Its absence would have a brutalizing effect. Philip Ball, a British science writer and an avid music enthusiast, comes down somewhere in the middle. He says that music is ingrained in our auditory, cognitive, and motor functions. We have a music instinct as much as a language instinct, and could not rid ourselves of it if we tried. The few people who live in Alaska's Aleutian Islands have long been accustomed to shipwrecks. They have been part of local consciousness since a Japanese whaling ship ran aground near the western end of the 1,100-mile, 1,800 kilometers, volcanic archipelago in 1780, inadvertently naming what is now Rat Island when the ship's infestation scurried ashore and made itself at home. Since then, there have been at least 190 shipwrecks in the islands. Subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for latest PTE
topics in the media, which is a touch ironic given that it is often the media that is responsible for invasion of privacy. This is not just about those whose careers put them in the public eye, but ordinary people who through no fault of their own have come to public notice because of some event that has attracted the attention of the media. It might be that a member of their family has been imprisoned for some crime, rightfully or wrongfully, or perhaps they are the victims of some natural disaster. Some people argue that those who have chosen to be in the public sphere and have teams of public relations people to make sure they get as much PUBHC attention as possible, actors, rock stars, politicians and the like, have given up their right to privacy and get everything they deserve. You will hear a recording. Write the missing words in each blank. There is such a thing as information overload. There is just so much information out there now that we can't cope with it or fully absorb it or even decide which bits of it we want to keep in our minds or which to discard. There is a similar thing going on with the range of choices we have as consumers. There is so much stuff out there, so much to choose from that, according to some experts, this situation is making us miserable. Most of us believe that the more we have to choose from the better, yet apparently our dissatisfaction with this wealth of choice, or rather the anxiety it produces, is part of a larger trend. It seems that, as society grows more affluent and people become freer to do what they want,
Barred owls can be found in dense forests right across North America. They feed on small mammals, fish, birds and small reptiles, pretty much anything that comes their way. The barred owl grows up to half a meter tall and has emerged as a very adaptable nocturnal predator. Whereas they have been long thought to live in old-growth forests, they are now building up quite an urban population. In Charlotte, North Carolina, barred owls tend to nest in the cavities of the numerous willow oak trees that line the city's streets. Far from being endangered, the owls have expanded their range, and now, in some places, conservationists are worried about the effects they might have on other native species.
Barred owls can be found in dense forests right across North America. They feed on small mammals, fish, birds and small reptiles, pretty much anything that comes their way. The barred owl grows up to half a meter tall and has emerged as a very adaptable nocturnal predator. Whereas they have been long thought to live in old-growth forests, they are now building up quite an urban population. In Charlotte, North Carolina, barred owls tend to nest in the cavities of the numerous willow oak trees that line the city's streets. Far from being endangered, the owls have expanded their range, and now, in some places, conservationists are worried about the effects they might have on other native species.